make sure you're subscribed to JerCrispy.
What's up, y'all? It's Most That's Most. JerCrispy, we're making another video. Characters that were the real MVP Part 1. You already know it by Risky or Risky. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Call you BY for sure.
Shalom, my niggas. Today I have gathered you all here because I am starting a new character series. So far we've talked about characters that have valid crash outs, we've talked about greedy characters, and we've talked about characters that were awful parents. But today we're going to be talking about side characters who are the real MVPs. We all know the big names like Goku, Superman, Mario, Finn, and so many other characters. And of course they get all the love and attention. But it's time we gave the side characters some love too. Because a lot of the times, these side characters are doing MVP level stuff without getting the actual trophy for it. Some of these main characters can't do what they can do without the side characters' help. Because what would Sonic be without Tails? What would Peanut Butter be without Jelly helping them out? So now it's time to talk about some of the greatest side characters of all time. And y'all already know the drill. Sit back, relax, pretend your family actually loves you, and get ready for a show. Narrated by yours truly. Now let's get into our first character.
Super suit?
We started out strong.
That was no surprise that
he started out too strong, dog. You should have put that like in the middle of the end. But hey, it's just your video, bro. But MVP, but hey, he deserved his trophy right here. Like Ben, hands down, Ben deserved the trophy. Like, they should have been called his name for a trophy, man. Like, I'm for real.
Frozone made it on this list, because you know, he's in a damn thumbnail. But I think there's quite a bit of things that make him one of the MVPs in the Incredibles movies. For starters, his powers are some of the coolest powers we see within this universe. I'm always a big fan of elemental powers, so characters like him, Storm, Aquaman, and Sailor Mercury are always catching my attention when they're on screen. He's also a black character, so anytime I see my people getting some representation in movies and shows, it makes the character 10 times better for me. But besides my personal bias, there are some big reasons why I think Frozone is the GOAT! So let's get into the first one. So in the first Incredibles movie, superheroes are illegal. Kinda crazy, I know, but they are. But even though heroes are illegal, bad stuff is still happening. So of course, Mr. Incredible defies the laws and puts on a shiesty mask and continues to be a hero. And you know who helps him? Frozone. They end up going to save some people from a burning building. And this is also something I think is overlooked, but fire is Frozone's main weakness, and he is still willing to save people even though he can barely use his powers. I think that is a really selfless and honorable action to do. And they eventually manage to save these people, but they also end up busting through the wall and end up in a jewelry store, which causes the police to show up, and this is not a good look for him obviously. Black guy in a shiesty mask, at night, and inside a jewelry store. I don't have to break down why this is not a good scenario for him.
You going to jail? You going to jail?
But the reason I wanted to use this scene is because he makes this scene one of the coolest ones out of this entire movie. So the cop tells him,
he said, oh yeah, I'm just thirsty. Okay. Keep your hand up. Alright. Freeze. The cleanest
Frozone
one.
goes for a drink of water.
Top
and
5
before
cleanest.
the cup even hits the ground, he freezes the cop and they escape. Now technically this was illegal activity, but this scene was so smooth, and without Frozone, they would have both been in jail for a very long time, and these people wouldn't have got saved. That's the W mans right there. So that's the first thing we see him do to start to become the MVP that he is. The next thing I want to point out is that Frozone is willing to risk his own relationship with his wife just to save his friends and the people of Earth.
We've been planning this dinner for 2 months.
The public is in danger.
My evening's in danger.
You tell me what I saw this woman? We are talking about the greater good.
Greater good. I am your wife.
And even though she is doing all this and yelling at him, he is still willing to put his relationship and his life on the line every time. Being a hero is something that he is. He doesn't ever change this, no matter the circumstance or situation. Next is the fact that this nigga Frozone has probably saved more people in the first movie than the Incredibles have in both of their movies.
Right.
Just in the fight with the giant robot in the first movie, he was able to fight off the robot, save people from getting crushed, and he even saved Dash. Dash's own family was right there, and Frozone was still the person to save him. And if you watch this fight scene closely, you can see that without Frozone, this would have went terribly wrong. Him and his powers are the only thing that had any real impact in this fight. There was a family of 4 superheroes there, and
Man, you telling me just that one person you going dumb? Shout out to that nigga Frozone, man. Hey, the most smoothest, freeziest dude I know. Where it's gonna be freezing like my nigga Frozone.
Frozone did more work than all of them combined. Mind you, the movie is called Incredibles, and the only incredible person I see at this point in the movie is Frozone. And then we get the giant drill fight.
They should have made a spin-off movie or show off of him, man. I'm for real.
And he becomes the MVP again. This drill is headed straight to the Capitol building, and Frozone is the only person that is really able to keep up with it and slow it down. Even Mr. Incredible is cheering for him. This would have had me mad. This is your movie, but I'm always having to save the day. Nigga, do your job. Y'all gotta change the title of the movie at this point. We got the main character of the series cheering for Frozone. That alone gotta tell you how elite of a character he is. And he literally ends up saving the building. Well, for the most part. And remember when he said,
They ain't worry about that little bookshelf, man. That's probably a bookshelf that been there probably since 1999. They ain't worry about that little bookshelf. They gonna make a whole new bookshelf.
Saved Dash not too long ago? That's the last point I wanted to make. Frozone has saved this family more times than anyone else in this movie. Because the main plot in the second movie is that the old heroes get mind controlled and turn evil. And whenever they pull up to the Incredibles crib, you know who's there to stop them? Frozone. And he is really saucing them up too. He's doing this by himself against 6 superheroes. Now I'm not sure why the kids didn't help more. I'm pretty sure they got powers too, but that's not what this video is about. And due to him coming to rescue the kids, he eventually gets mind controlled as well. And then whenever he breaks out the mind control, he saves the kids again. Dash and Violet would have been incredible barbecue if it wasn't for Frozone. And to finish it off, the boat that they are on is headed right for the city. And as you can probably guess, Frozone is the one to stop the boat, protect the city, and save the family. So yeah, I don't think I need to say any more to prove why Frozone is the real MVP of the Incredibles universe. He is willing to risk his freedom, wife, and his life just to save the day. And he has saved this family and the city countless times. But now it's time to get into our next character.
I may not
Yeah.
make it back.
Oh, no. What do you mean?
If you've ever seen the Planet of the Apes reboot movies,
Hold on,
you probably already know Maurice. But if you haven't, let me give you some context before I give him his MVP trophy. So when we first see Maurice in the 2011 film, we find out that he is an orangutan in a traveling circus group, but that group got shut down. So Maurice is then put into the primate sanctuary, which is a place where different apes are put when they have no home. And the most important part about him getting put into this sanctuary is he meets Caesar, who is the main character of all 3 of these films. Now Caesar is a special ape due to him having something called ALZ-112, which was passed down from him from his mother. And originally what ALZ-112 was supposed to do was cure Alzheimer's in humans. But what the virus did to Caesar's mind was improve his brain function and super speed his growth to levels normal chimps would never be able to reach. Basically monkey steroids. So then Caesar gets put into the primate facility as well. And this is where he hotboxes all the apes with the ALZ that he stole from his owner's house. And this causes all the apes to become very smart. This is also where Maurice becomes one
What's that ugly monkey? I know, my eyes. They had something in my eyes. That's why I was closing my eyes a little bit, bro. Yeah, bro. I took my hair out. This is sidetrack. I took my hair out like yesterday. Today is Monday. Well, no, I took it out Monday, so that's something different. So yeah.
Caesar's closest friends. Because when Caesar got admitted into the facility, the apes didn't really like him too much. And the only ape that showed him any respect and kindness was Maurice. And even before the ALZ hotboxing incident, Maurice was already super smart. He knew sign language and he understood a lot of English words as well. Which also helped because Caesar wasn't able to communicate with any of the other apes besides Maurice. So at this point in the movie, Caesar has freed all his ape homies, Maurice helped teach the apes sign language, and Caesar has now assembled the ape version of the Avengers, which is later called the Council of Apes. And this council consists of Caesar taking the leader role, Rocket being the second in command, Buck the Silverback being Caesar's bodyguard, and of course Maurice the MVP. And I can't lie, they looking tough as hell. It's no reason 4 apes should have.
Yeah, but one of them dudes ended up turning around and it was the ugly one that turned around and betrayed him because he was killing off monkeys and stuff like that. Yeah, bro.
Have this much aura.
I'm a gorilla in a fucking scoop. Finna pull up to the zoo. Nigga, who the fuck is you?
So the apes and the humans have a big battle on the bridge, and after all of that, the apes escape to the woods. But enough of the backstory, now it's time to get into why Maurice is the most valuable primate in this movie. So in the next movie in this series, the apes are living peacefully after the bridge incident in the last movie. But the AOZ virus has caused an outbreak and wiped out a ton of the human population, basically monkey COVID. And due to them moving on from the humans, they have to establish some sort of system to teach the younger apes and newborns how to communicate, as well as function within this new world that they are living in. And this is where my guy Maurice really shines. He is the one that is in charge of teaching all the apes how to speak and communicate. And this is a really slept on talent that Maurice has, because without his teachings, the apes will grow up to essentially be dumb as hell and not know how to listen or communicate with other apes.
Hold on. Boy, that monkey was drinking Poway.
And as you can see in this picture,
man, I know I'm not tripping, man. Hold on, I know I was, man. Yeah, nigga just got up. Nigga was dozing off a little bit in this bed. I don't know, son. But you telling me, am I? Oh. Well, I thought that was part of the movie for a minute. I was like, hold on.
Hell, and not know how to listen or communicate with other apes. And as you can see in this picture, one of the most important things he teaches them is apes do not kill other apes. And this is something that Caesar has basically made a law. And with this law, it rules out all the violence that could be happening within the community. So the fact that Maurice is doing this is really important for the survival of the apes, as well as the future for all the other apes to come. But then we find out that the humans are still alive, and this kind of brings a divide within the apes. And within the chaos the apes are going through, Maurice never leaves Caesar's side, and he's always giving him constant advice as well as strategy whenever he can. Because leading a group of apes is a pretty hard task, especially because these aren't regular apes, they are insanely smart. And this is where the next MVP quality comes into play. Maurice is insanely loyal, not only to Caesar, but also to the entire ape population. He puts their safety above his every single time. Because eventually the humans and the apes start beefing, which was bound to happen eventually. But Caesar doesn't want to hurt anyone, nor does he want to lose any of his apes. But then an ape named Koba ends up switching sides and betraying Caesar. He shoots Caesar, burns down the ape mansion, and then he convinces most of the apes that the humans are the ones that did all of this. And during this time, Koba and the apes are going crazy on the humans. They pulling up with guns, horses, and this nigga Koba is dual wielding 2 LMGs. I know this was crazy for the humans to see too. I'd probably shit myself if I saw an angry ass ape riding a horse with 2 machine guns coming right at me. Damn. But during this time, Koba has locked up all of the apes that didn't want to follow him and were still following the teachings of Caesar. And even though it's not a lot of apes that are still following Caesar, Maurice is one of the only apes that is still sticking by Caesar's side, even though Caesar is dead. That's a real nigga in my opinion. I got some friends that'll slime me out for a handful of Skittles. So the fact that Maurice stuck by Caesar even after dying.
Not for a handful of Skittles. Nah, bro. You got friends slime you out for some handful of Skittles, bro. You might need to reselect your friend group.
Speaks volumes to how loyal he is and what kind of character Maurice is. Maurice and the few Caesar followers eventually do get freed by Caesar's son. And then the apes find out that Caesar is not dead. So Caesar confronts Koba and packs him up. And now we're on to the final movie. So just to recap for y'all, since I know y'all have TikTok brains and have the attention span of a Labrador, Caesar's most trusted advisor and friend. He has taught the apes how to communicate and do sign language, and he helped lead all the apes to freedom. Alright, now let's get into the last movie. In this movie, the apes end up going to war with the humans. And the war is so bad, some of the apes actually switch sides and start working for the humans. And during this time, Caesar is having a really hard time emotionally. He lost his wife, he lost his son, the apes are being captured, and this war is getting really out of hand. And during this time, Maurice is still acting like a W-mans, and not only comforting Caesar, but helping him make reasonable decisions during this intense conflict. So eventually Caesar and the gang take off to go find the humans. And while they're doing this, they find a little girl who is unable to talk. And at first, the apes wanted to smoke her on sight.
Wait, cheese in your snitching ass between your
The human and ape beef is so bad right now, they are willing to turn this little girl into Swiss cheese. But Maurice ends up resolving the dispute and brings the little girl back with him. This action by Maurice will have a huge payoff later too. Maurice also ends up giving her the name Nova. So Caesar ends up going on his own to try to kill the leader of the human army, but he ends up getting captured. So of course the most valuable primate, Maurice, comes up with a plan to help out the apes. And Maurice's new adoptive daughter Nova risks her life and sneaks into the camp to give Caesar some food so he doesn't die of starvation. This also ignites all the other apes to not give up hope. And without Maurice saving her life, befriending her, and showing her that apes are not bad, she would have never been able to do all of this. Maurice bringing her along with them was a crucial moment within this entire movie. Maurice and Nova later end up digging the...
She gave her bananas and apples and and all that other stuff. Yeah, I'll be straight with that little monkey, little ape.
Apes out of captivity, and not gonna lie, without Maurice, Caesar and them other apes would have been right up there with Harambe. And eventually they end up going to a place they
Run let that nigga Harambe. Run let that nigga Harambe, bro.
can finally call home. But sadly, Caesar dies from some wounds he had earlier in the film. And even though Maurice is very sad that his day one homie is dying, he vows to look after all the apes, look after Caesar's own son, and Maurice wrote a whole book about
Man, but hold on, wait a minute. Say, ain't you just said Caesar's son died? And his wife died? He had 2 sons? By 2 different girls? Shit, boy, Caesar out here playing. Well, yeah, alright now. My boy Caesar was a player.
to preserve the teachings and the things that Caesar stood for and did for all
Caesar
the
out here
apes.
playing.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for Maurice. I truly believe he deserves the MVP trophy. Without him, each of these movies would have never happened. Maurice came in clutch every single time the apes or Caesar needed him to. He taught all of them how to do sign language. He taught the young apes how to communicate and not hurt each other. He was Caesar's therapist, friend, and advisor. He never switched up. He befriended Nova, which ended up with Nova helping the apes and Caesar escape captivity. Maurice helped the apes out of prison, and to finish off Maurice's MVP run, he became a leader of the apes and wrote a book for all future apes to be able to understand the teachings of Caesar.
Alright now.
Alright
now. You know, that last one, you were just bragging about that. He write his own book about his bro. Alright now, come on now. That was the last one alright. You was kind of pushing it with that last one. But the other one, I believe you. But the last one, nah, bro.
For the most valuable primate. Now it's time for the next character.
The Dragon Balls could be anywhere in the whole world, right?
Okay.
Just who do you think you're dealing with here, kid?
Mama?
I'm no amateur.
Bulma is a character from the Dragon Ball Z series, and I think a lot of people undervalue Bulma from Dragon Ball all the way to Dragon Ball Super, because I think a lot of y'all niggas forget what Bulma has done for not only the entire cast, but also just the entire franchise. So let me break down why Bulma might be the most important Dragon Ball character of all time. So when we first see Bulma in Dragon Ball, she meets Goku after she was searching for the Dragon Balls, and she ends up being the entire reason Goku sets out on his journey. So really nothing would have happened in Dragon Ball without Goku meeting Bulma, because Goku wasn't going to leave where he was if Bulma didn't recruit him. Now the next important thing Bulma does is create the Dragon Radar. Without this tool, finding the Dragon Balls would be insanely hard. And to be honest, I could stop right here.
Well, man, that radar was trash, bro. Let's be real, bro. That radar was garbage. Duty. Boy, that radar was barely helping you out most of the time, bro. Like, come on now.
The Dragon Radar alone is enough to put her as the most valuable character in this show. And mind you, she created this while she was 16 years old. She basically connected magic and science to create a tool capable of finding 7 magic Dragon Balls scattered across the earth. And I don't gotta tell y'all how important the Dragon Balls are to this series. Without the Dragon Balls, most of these niggas in this universe would be dead. Most other characters in Dragon Ball don't even see the Dragon Balls once in their lifetime. Bulma made it to where that we see them hoes damn near every arc. It's to the point where death doesn't even feel like a bad thing anymore because we're always getting the Dragon Balls. But that wouldn't be possible without the Dragon Radar Bulma created. But she didn't stop cooking with the Dragon Radar. After Raditz came to Earth, she was able to repair his scouter and decipher the language. This is a foreign alien language, by the way, and she translated this shit in a few days. Then she goes on to modify the Namekian space shuttle that took them to planet Namek.
I'm about to say, ain't that was for Vegeta? I keep rubbing my face and shit like that, bro. Like that. Ain't that was for Vegeta though? Because he was supposed to, over Red, let them know what their power level was or some shit like that.
Without all this, they wouldn't have been able to revive all their dead homies. One thing too I forgot to mention in this saga was when Captain Ginyu turned into a frog, she creates a damn frog translator to understand the frog. Bulma really might be the smartest character in anime at this point.
Okay.
And then in the very next saga, she creates a damn time machine. We wouldn't have got the android saga without Bulma. She sent Trunks to the past to warn the Z fighters and fight off the androids. I don't think some of y'all realize how clutch Bulma really is. This also led Trunks to be able to get stronger to go back to his own timeline and wipe out the androids there too. It doesn't matter what timeline Bulma is in.
This motherfucker don't miss.
Now the next thing I want to point out is that Bulma played a major role in domesticating Vegeta. We all know how crazy Vegeta was before joining the Z Squad. And if Bulma hadn't put that Pum Pum on...
Yeah. But that's another story to tell you, bro. Phew. Boy, that is another story to say. Boy, if that boy Vegeta did not took Yamcha girl, boy, Vegeta would still be evil. Still, he probably would have had a different character type, and he would have still be at Goku neck, bro. I'm just saying. And he would have been working with old dude with the stuff. What that nigga name? Rancho Radish, whatever that dude name was, with that hair long all the way to his back, and Goku sacrificed himself. Bro.
Vegeta, he really might still be evil. And Vegeta is one of the most helpful characters within this entire series too. The fact that Bulma basically slowly eroded the evilness out of him did the universe a big favor on multiple occasions. The whole reason Vegeta even cares about his family and friends is because of Bulma. Next, we gotta talk about the Saiyan armor. Bulma took Vegeta's alien armor and recreated it to create a new armor that can withstand damn near anything. And not gonna lie, this shit look clean as hell. I've never seen a crop top look this cool before. And during this same arc, she was the person who created the remote that was able to shut down the androids. Now, of course, that didn't go according to plan because Krillin wanted some clanker coochie, but Bulma being able to come up with this shit in just a few days was crazy clutch. And it's not just Dragon Ball Z she's helping out with too. In Dragon Ball GT, she makes the Grand Tour ship, which Goku, Trunks, and Pan use to find the Black Star Dragon Balls. And she makes the Blutz Wave generator that helped Vegeta reach Super Saiyan 4. Then if we take it to Dragon Ball Super, she is the main contact point for Earth to reach Beerus and Whis. She also...
Whis, bro. Oh my god, Beerus and Whis is so it's so funny on this one, bro. Like, I'm for real.
So constantly feeds them, keeping them from destroying the entire planet, which later leads to helping Goku and Vegeta become stronger due to Whis finally wanting to train them. And during the Goku Black arc,
Lead murderer! Hold your fire! This man isn't black!
What did he say?
This man isn't black!
I beg your pardon.
Right, when the first time I heard that, I was like, man, hold on, Trunks. Hold on, Trunks. Hold on, Trunks. What you just said, man? Nah, bro. Hey, run the fade real quick. Like,
got blown up. Bulma is the one to rebuild another time traveling machine so Trunks can eventually save the day. Without Bulma, there is no Goku. Without Bulma, there is no Earth. Without Bulma, there is no Trunks. Without Bulma, there is no finding the Dragon Balls. Without Bulma, this series wouldn't even exist. She might not be the coolest character or be able to do ki blasts, but Bulma is without a doubt one of the smartest anime characters of all time and the greatest side character in the Dragon Ball franchise in my opinion. And I actually left out quite a bit of stuff that Bulma has done as well.
Damn.
But to this day, the Dragon Radar is still one of the most insanely clutch items we've ever had in Dragon Ball.
Why she slapped my nigga Goku like that? Slapped the taste out that man's mouth. Slap the taste out that boy.
And I actually left out quite a bit of stuff that Bulma has done as well.
Blah. Slap the taste out my man's mouth. Man, what Chi-Chi at?
Well, but to this day, the Dragon Radar is still one of the most insanely clutch items we've ever had in Dragon Ball. And that wouldn't even be a thing without Bulma. So if she wants to use the Dragon Balls to wish for a BBL, then I don't see a problem with it. It's the least we can give her for everything she's done. Alright, now it's time for the last character. Y'all know I'm a big Star Wars fan, so it's no surprise that I included a Star Wars character on this list. And I think there's tons of characters that could fit within it.
You ended off the video right with this dude. Yeah, I was not big into Star Wars, but I know this dude.
Video, but I think out of all the characters in Star Wars, this little robot right here embodies what it means to be a hero. So starting off, R2 is one of the only characters to survive all 9 movies, which is obviously crazy because there's a galactic war constantly happening, constant fights, and space battles happening every minute. But within each of the 9 films, R2 not only survives, he is also the reason a lot of other major characters survive too. So let's get into why R2-D2 is one of the galaxy's greatest side characters of all time. So the first major thing R2 does takes place in the Phantom Menace. During the blockade of Naboo, the Queen's ship takes off but gets damaged, and R2-D2 risks his life to go out there and fix the damages and recharge the ship's shield. He witnessed 3 of his homies get blasted off and he still went to go fix the ship. And without him doing this, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and everybody else on Queen Amidala's ship would have died. And then in that same movie, Anakin gets stuck inside a starfighter and launched into space. But luckily for Anakin, he had R2 with him, and he overrides the ship's controls and then destroys the central controls for the battle droids. So just in the first movie, R2 has saved Obi-Wan, Padme, Qui-Gon, and Anakin. Now saving Anakin might not have been the best.
Don't forget, man. It really the one who really, if he wasn't, if they gave him more, you know, a little bit more screen time and let him teach him how to do the Force, he really could have been a, you know, one of them Jedis or whatever it would call.
Best idea looking back on it since the whole Darth Vader mass murder thing, but R2 was insanely clutch in this movie. Then we move to Attack of the Clones. Padme is on Geonosis in the droid factory about to get burned to death, and R2-D2 reveals he can fly and also turns off the assembly line, saving her life. Another small thing he did was during the major battle in this movie, he was the one responsible for putting C-3PO's head back on his body. This wasn't a major event, but I think it just shows how heroic R2-D2 is. Because at this point in the movie, C-3PO and R2-D2 aren't really friends, but R2 still risked his life to do this. Then we start the Revenge of the Sith movie, and it didn't even take R2 more than 4 fucking seconds to start saving the day again. While Anakin and Obi-Wan are flying to go save the Chancellor, a bunch of buzz droids attack Anakin's ship. And once again, R2 saves another ship and Anakin by upping the pole and killing a droid. Then after that, Anakin and Obi-Wan get into the elevator that starts to crash, and R2 overrides the system to save them while he gets into a fight with 2 battle droids. And even though R2 is outmatched by these 2 super battle droids, he still packs them niggas up. R2-D2 hasn't taken an L yet. Then once the Jedi found Palpatine, R2 acts as a distraction, then the Jedi are able to get their lightsabers out. So now it's time for the original trilogy. And this is where R2-D2 really shows how much of an MVP he really is. During A New Hope, Leia gets captured, and R2 is tasked with taking the Death Star plans to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And without R2 doing this successfully, all this Star Wars shit would have been over. Leia would have been executed, Luke wouldn't have become a Jedi, and every planet in space would have been put into one giant space blunt for Palpatine to smoke. I'm starting to think R2-D2 might actually be the main character at this point. He's done more than any other character in this franchise.
Facts. Without him, bro, the franchise would never been this good. And let's argue about it.
Also in A New Hope, everyone gets stuck in a trash compactor, and R2 saves the main characters from becoming smashed into panini sandwiches. Next, we got the Empire Strikes Back movie, and the biggest thing R2 does in this movie is repair the Millennium Falcon's hyperdrive. And everyone had been trying to fix this thing, but no one could do it. And if R2 didn't figure it out and fix it, they wouldn't have been able to leave Cloud City alive. And now we're on to the last of the OG movies, Return of the Jedi. And R2 didn't do as much saving as he did in the other movies, but he still came in clutch in 2 major scenes. The first one was when Luke and the gang were about to be eaten by this giant space vagina monster. Yeah, I don't really know the name of it, I kind of forgot. But then R2-D2 comes out and throws Luke his lightsaber so he can free himself and help the others escape from being eaten.
Oh, look at you,
The final clutch moment R2 had was when they were all captured by the Ewoks. And when this happened, nobody could get out. Luke couldn't reach his lightsaber, and R2 ended up pulling out a mini saw and cutting them free. R2 is one of the most resourceful characters in Star
But
Wars.
like I said, R2 is that nigga, man. He the most smoothest dude that I know.
He has a saw to cut stuff, he can fly if he needs to, he can hack into damn near anything. He can also transfer messages through holograms, and he can fly damn near any ship in the galaxy. And I'm not really a big fan of the sequel trilogy, but since I'm talking about my boy R2, I'll give him some credit for what he did in these films as well. Cause he didn't have much screen time in the newer movies, but when he did, he made it count. During the Last Jedi movie, when Luke was fighting Kylo Ren, R2-D2 was in charge of finding the last members of the Resistance. And even though it did take him a little while, he ended up finding them, which would eventually lead to the takedown of the First Order. Then during the very last film, C-3PO has to give up all of his memories and data in order to find the Emperor's Sith Wayfinder. And I gotta give it to C-3PO, this was a very noble action to do. Without this sacrifice, they would have lost everything. But just as C-3PO gave up everything that made him who he was, R2-D2 came in clutch again and had a backup file for C-3PO to restore all his memories back. Last thing I wanted to point out is that throughout everything R2 has seen and been through, such as Order 66, Anakin turning into Vader, and countless other events, he never snitched. He knew Anakin was Vader.
Facts. Man always came in clutch, did what he had to do, got his time done, and helped out, and lived to see a better day. Man, they need to go ahead and make a statue of that man.
He acted like he didn't know Obi-Wan or Yoda, and he shut himself down when Luke didn't want to be found. That's a real nigga, man. You can't program this type of behavior. This is something only R2-D2 is capable of. So now let's do a quick recap on why R2-D2 is one of the greatest side characters in the galaxy. In the prequel trilogy, he saves Padme's ship along with everybody in it. He saves Anakin, and he takes down the droid control center. Then he saves Padme from being burned to death, fixes C-3PO, and he saves Anakin and Obi-Wan multiple times. Then in the OG trilogy, he delivers the plans to the Death Star. He stops the trash compactor. Then he fixes the Falcon's hyperdrive. He saved Luke and the gang from the space vagina. And finally, he saved them from the Ewoks trap. Then in the sequel trilogy, he locates the rest of the Resistance and then restores C-3PO's memories. And he did all of this while never snitching on anybody. So yeah, that's the last character I want to talk about today.
Hey, that's a good one. Hey, I'm ready for part 2, dog. Go ahead and make part 2 already. But hope y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media. They pop on the screen. We're on the road to 500, and I'm